And hello, we're live on yet another episode of One Take because life has no rehearsals. And today I am absolutely thrilled. I don't know, she's one of the most courageous women I have met ever. At some point in her life, I'm not going to go when, she decided, I want to be the Doyenne of international advertising. I want to be like the standard bearer of international advertising. And she founded the Internationalist, which is not only the premier international advertising and marketing magazine, it is the standard. It is the one that survived because everybody likes it and everybody respects it. So, Deborah Malone, thank you very much for joining us. It is a real thrill. So, we've been in touch many years through many countries. We've all gone through a lot of decisive moments. What was your number one decisive moment that basically defined you professionally?
That's a difficult one because there's probably multiple ones, but I won't go through all of the pain of some of those decisive moments. But I do think when you find a love for an industry, and it's very unexpected. But when you realize that it fascinates you and that you want to see it change and you want to see it grow and you want to be part of sharing the stories of the people in that industry, it's not always one of those moments where it's like fireworks. It's just this moment where you say, I know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm committed to this. And people say it's the same feeling you get when you know that you want to be an entrepreneur. It's almost as if there's nothing else that you can do. And I think when that happens, there's a sense of joy and a sense of responsibility, and you just go with it and you never look back. And I think it's the you never look back moments that make all the difference.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's not a question of burning bridges in terms of that, but it's a question of saying, I'm not going to go back to that bridge. Not necessarily burning it because you don't want to burn people, but yeah, you don't want to go there.
And you do
So,
it. You just do it, and you find a way. I mean, listen, we all realize that change is inevitable. I mean that's obvious, but it's always about how we respond to change. And I don't mean how we respond emotionally. I mean how we come up with other ways of working or other ideas, and how you're not afraid of realizing that this could be an opportunity to think a little bit differently. And it's the confidence in that I think, makes us realize that we're on the right path.
well, speaking about that, I mean, like, it's a truism, right? That change is inevitable, that the only thing that continues is change, blah, blah, blah. Everybody says that. Nevertheless, a few of us in our careers have seen changes that, in looking back, we say, dude, how did that happen? I mean, in 1,000 years. And you have to cope with it. So tell me a few of those changes that you've seen in our international marketing
Well,
industry.
I think the thing that I'm seeing right now, and one of the things that I've been fascinated by recently, is just this move to people trying to find their purpose. Whether that is something that was always there or not, there was without question a movement toward that. What's now happening, though, is it almost seems, and I'm not sure this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's seeping into marketing as it's seeping into life, is it seems that everything is political. It seems that brands are political, whether they like it or not. What we wear is political, and I think that's a direction that may not be good. And I'm not sure where that's taking us necessarily, but that is a concern, and I think there might be ways to to break that.
I would hope so. I tell people we're in Miami anyway. We're going into two stormy seasons: the hurricane storms and the political storm. Both of them are going to happen at the same time. But like you've been a force in the industry for like what, 20 years more.
Well, I mean,
So,
it's 30 when you think about the ad age years, and then
oh
I've had
yes,
this company 21 years.
So
So
what
yeah.
couple of changes have you seen that, like in looking back, you would have never imagined would have happened 20
Well,
years ago?
uh, it's funny because I think some of the changes. Well, let's be realistic now. I mean, news today, or in the news this week. I mean, look at Omnicom. Putting together their creative shops. All together in one unit. And how about Gray and J. Walter Thompson not really existing anymore as brands? I mean, it used to be that the creative shops were the premier.
Right.
And now just to see that, and I realize that Omnicom came out with a strong message that they're still going to support those brands like BBDO and TBWA and so on. But it's a lot of it is obviously driven by cost, but it's also driven by what marketers want. And we are moving in a direction where it's a digital direction. It's not the big sweeping creative that we used to all love. I mean, I can remember going to the Cannes Ad Festival and just you know sitting in the seats at the theater, and then of course sitting on the beach later, but and just watching commercials. I mean, that really doesn't happen anymore. I don't think there are no commercials to watch at Cannes anymore. I mean, except in some of the awards. But where do they run?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I haven't watched. I gotta confess, I haven't watched commercial television except for CNN for like
Mhm,
a year at
mhm,
all.
mhm.
Like even Spotify. I mean, Netflix. I don't know. I've been too busy working and stuff. So, so you have a couple of interesting insights or something like that. The first one is, and I'm going to deviate a bit from the script because, and this might catch you, nah, probably won't. Now, your magazine is like a Porsche 911, right? You see a Porsche 911 today, like my neighbor has one, a 2023, and it's a 911. I mean, you see it and it's a 911. But then when you look at a 1976 911 next to it, they have nothing in common at all. They're completely different, but the brand equity is there. And your magazine is pretty much the same way. You see the Internationalist, and there is an equity there, and you see it and you say, yeah, it's the same magazine. But if you were to see one against the other, they probably wouldn't have anything in common. You have evolved the magazine, yet kept the same equity of the magazine, so that the magazine has the same spirit. Tell me more about clients, like that evolution of clients. What do you see clients demanding today?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of challenges for marketers today. Um, I think the excitement is that the marketing role, if you just want to talk general marketing, is getting bigger and bigger. And that comes as we've seen in agency life, how big sometimes gets broken up. I think that we're seeing a role that large that has to now incorporate things like sustainability and all these many other issues. It becomes so overwhelming that now parts of it are broken up, or there's specialties. There's so much change. I heard someone recently from Spencer Stewart speak, and I thought it was very interesting. He said that if we're looking for a CFO 90% of the time, that CFO, it's the same characteristics you're looking for. It's the same job, more or less. If we have an assignment to find a CMO or someone in marketing, there's sometimes 5% similarities because each company defines that role so differently based on what they perceive as their needs or what they perceive as the job to be. I mean, in some ways, it's wonderful that it's so innovative and so creative and now so sweeping and so important, particularly in a post COVID communications world. But at the same time, it there are real challenges in trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I've just before I opened the agency, I was working as a fractional CMO. And one of the things that I noticed is that everybody I spoke to, my own clients, they had a completely different definition of what marketing was. Actually, I've heard people in, I don't know, SEO tell me, oh, we're marketing. And you say, no, you're not. Marketing includes pricing and packaging and distribution and, getting into a fights with publics to get more shelf space, and then promotions and cents off. And it's just big. And then you got all the customer service for some of the other companies.
And yeah, and is your packaging recyclable? I mean, it's everything. It's brand. It's all aspects of branding, and I think that's very exciting. But I think that and now some people also under marketing, also have sales responsibility, because so much of sales is not in person anymore. It's digital, and the marketing people have to keep writing all of those wonderful emails that we get.
Oh, please, let's not even get into that. It's become, I've had fights in a few of the groups that I belong to about that. It has become as formulaic as the old Ginsu knives, advertising midnight on local TV. But wait, there's more.
Yeah,
The lame personalization driven by AI. Hi, Deborah. I saw your website and I noticed you're in advertising. We sell this. Yeah, what kind of personalization is that? Yeah, I tend to agree. It has not given us really stellar advertising for a while. Like I haven't seen anything tremendously great. I don't know, last year, couple of years. So, well, and you have coped really well. I mean, your magazine, like I mentioned, it has the same equity, but it doesn't have the same
yeah,
look.
and I think that any brand can do that. I mean, we haven't really varied from our original intention, which was to connect the people and ideas in international marketing. And we do it in a lot of ways now. It's not only the content. I mean, we have everything from book publishing, to content via video, that we have, little research through our insight surveys. We do quite a bit. But I think that maybe the hallmark for us is that there's always that feeling of the personal. Because let's be honest, the people in international marketing, advertising, media, whatever you want to call it, they're a unique breed. They're some of the most interesting people in the world, and largely because they've had the experience of multiple cultures. And marketing and advertising is a business that is not, it's not only fun, it's not only something that makes you think, but it also is a reflection of contemporary culture, but it can also shape contemporary culture in many
Yep.
ways. And that dialectic is pretty interesting if you take it seriously. If you take it seriously.
And you have, I mean, your magazine is a testament to taking it seriously, even though it is not, like a doom magazine or whatever, but you
No,
do
no, no,
take
and
it
it doesn't, and
seriously,
it's not meant to
you know,
critique the industry. It's meant to highlight again
right?
people and ideas that not only cross borders but inspire us to be a better industry.
Yep. And you certainly have been able to keep up with that consistently, which is great. So 2025 is almost here. Uh, Actually, it is almost there. I mean, like if you're any sort of advertising, you're already doing 2025. So
And if
what's
you're
in
doing
store?
budgeting,
Yeah. So what's in store for you for 2025? What are we going to see?
um, I mean, I think that you know AI is just one of those terms, whether you like it or not, that we're going to continue to hear about quite a bit. We've been interacting with a number of companies that are doing some very, very interesting things with artificial intelligence, and not scary things. I mean, stuff that's very much dedicated to the industry, from everything like synthetic panels, which are kind of focus groups on steroids,
Yes.
to even what you might call a creative critic in terms of looking at any kind of advertising and figuring figuring out ways that it be be better, might be improved, might have a better call to action or whatever it is. It's funny. I was talking to someone yesterday, and you can't help but talk about AI in some form. And this person said to me something interesting. He said, AI is going to help the best agencies get better, and the ones that are not great are going to go away. And
Wow.
I thought that was pretty profound. I'm still, as you can tell, I'm still thinking about it. But I think his point was it's not necessarily meant to replace jobs. And I know when I spoke to Martin Sorrell earlier in the year, he did say a fact of life is that AI will replace jobs, and it seems silly not to say that. And look, I would never disagree with what he has to say, but the person I was speaking to yesterday, who also owns an ad agency, said the reason why the best agencies will only get better is because if you really understand what you're doing and you're using AI to only get to a higher level of excellence, and you then think about it and say, no, what the AI has produced is not right. Or you use your own critical insights, because the point that he was making is that AI is not emotional yet. So, you have to realize that whatever it gives you, it doesn't have that human emotion that, of course, we know is so impactful in any kind of advertising or any kind of communications at all to connect with people.
I tend to agree. I use it mainly for analysis and to create illustrations and stuff. I
Hmm.
haven't really used it for writing. I don't like the writing that emerges out of AI. I think it is very vanilla and very like, I don't know, stable. Like,
Well, it is, and
it's really
and
boring
but it
essentially.
can, I think it can make, if you're a good writer and you put in something and you ask for a suggestion or something, sometimes if you're stuck, it gives you a little bit of an idea, but you're never going to use the whole thing, or at least you're not at this point.
Yeah, no, for example, I'll do things like, 50 pages of text and say, hey, go through this and give me
A
three
summary.
threads that, happen through all of them. And then, I get it.
Hmm.
So one word finally, and you're probably better positioned than anybody yet on my podcast because you actually talk to these people. Like, let's say you were in front of a CEO and he's considering hiring, like different candidates. Some of them are older. What would you tell that CEO about older people? And by older, I mean 50 plus.
Oh
50
God,
plus.
50 plus, it doesn't even seem old. I
I know, I
still,
don't even remember 50.
no, but I mean, I still feel like uh, I'm I'm finally getting it right. And I think, what would I say to a CEO like that? I would say, look, there's a couple of things that really matter when it comes to business. One of them is experience. One of them is understanding relevance. And one of them is having the confidence of that experience and that relevance, that you don't have such an ego that you have to kind of run the show. That you are willing to work with teams, and that you are willing to, all you want to do, you don't have to prove anything anymore. All you want to do is move things forward, help share that knowledge, and bring some people with you. Why you wouldn't have someone is beyond me. But one of the sadnesses is that we are in an industry, a young industry, that's very much dedicated to. We care about a demographic group that is certainly 40, lower than 49, right? I think sometimes, aside from the economic advantages of people who are older, who have more disposable income and all of that, I think that people aren't thinking about that people are not only living longer and living better, but I think that there is just this tremendous desire to want to continually reinvent yourself or do something that's new and exciting and be part of the change that's happening in the world. And you can. the way that you can do that is by referencing other things that you've experienced. And you really think that Mick Jagger seems old? I mean, I know he's doing the same thing he did that when he was 20, but the reality is he's doing it in a different context at a different
Yes.
time in this. And I think that it's funny because I'm speaking with someone tomorrow who says that he wants to redefine retirement as retirement, meaning that so many people want to try something else. Like apparently, the statistics show that there's a lot of people that are over 50 or even over 60 that are starting their own companies. And it's not because they're trying to scale them, it's because they have an expertise and
Yes.
they want to offer uh, meaning, the meaningfulness of their lives to help somebody else, accomplish something for either the greater good or for a business profit. And that's noble. It continues to make you worthy in my mind.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I like the confidence you know, of your experience. I thought that is it resonates a lot. So I thank you very much. Uh,
A pleasure. I'm only going to get older,
always,
so you can just keep calling on me, and it's how it goes.
I'm not getting older. I already got.
It
But
doesn't matter.
Deborah,
Yeah,
it's been a real pleasure. Hadn't seen you in some time, and I wish you, of course, all of the success in the world. I wish you all of the best, and then we'll be in touch all over the place. I'll keep
absolutely.
on reading your
Absolutely.
magazine and everything.
And we'll keep the bands back together again.
Yes, that's true too. Well, thank you very much.
All right.
Best of luck. Hasta luego.
Okay, hasta luego.